introduction. Yes, sir. What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the Millionaire Mac Club YouTube channel. My name is James Hodgman. I'm the owner of the Millionaire Mac Club. We have another Millionaire Mac Talk, and today's special guest is Jett Berk, one of my friends from freshman year of high school. Man's transferred from my high school. Haven't talked to him in 4, 5, 6 years, and now is doing big things, doing real big things. So I definitely had to re-tap back in with him so he can share his growth, what's been helping him grow with y'all. So this man Jett is doing so much that he's told me about. I know he's got some more cooking, but so right now Jett is CEO of the company Do No Evil. He's working at a mortgage broker company and is a personal chef. I'll let you in on the details on what he's got cooking. So Jett, man, talk to me, man.
What's up? All right, first of all, James, thank you for having me. This is my first official podcast appearance. This is mad cool, man. I mean, this has been a long time. It's been 6 years since the last time I saw you, man. 5.5, close to 6 years. That is wild. Right. That is wild. Yes, James told you I am CEO of Do No Evil. I am a part-time personal chef. I am a full-time mortgage broker. Yeah, I film videos, I edit videos, I produce videos. I do so much that I don't even know sometimes. I don't know where James wants me to start, but I'll start June of last year when I broke up with my girlfriend after 2 years. I really had like no ties left in Scottsdale, because that's where I'm from. I really had like no ties left. I had nothing really like holding me back necessarily. And my mom lived in Newport by herself. And I was like, you know what? That sounds like a perfect opportunity for a life reset. Okay. I know no one out there. I know one person, actually. I'll tell you that. I know one person, and I have $1,000 in my bank account. Okay. And I have no job as of about a week before I make this decision. Right. Because of COVID, I was laid off 3 times in a matter of 2 months. Absolutely horrific. I worked in the bar restaurant industry, so they were going through it when COVID first hit. But a month later, in July like 8th, I signed a lease for 13 months on the cheapest apartment I could find in Newport by myself. It was a 390 square foot studio. Guys, it's about the size of my room right now, if you guys want me to be completely honest. It was pretty small. But I mean, wow. I can't give words. Words can't even describe how much of a blessing that was. Being in a different atmosphere, I think it's hard to know what you're capable of when you don't move out of where you grew up from.
Right.
I think I didn't really understand that until I moved, because I had some people tell me that. I had some friends that moved here too. So I had some friends tell me that, it's completely different. I moved out here, James, and I seriously, I had no idea where to start. So I said I'm a full-time mortgage broker. My mom works for a company called West One Capital in Newport Beach. And she got me a job like a month later. First of all, I didn't know that was going to happen. I had like multiple interviews at a restaurant, because I thought that I was going to work in a restaurant for a good majority of my life, because that's all I knew.
Exactly.
That's strictly all I knew, man. I worked in a restaurant from the day I was able to work until the day I got laid off. It was 5 years. So it's like, I didn't really know anything except for burgers and bar food. So I was like kind of thrown off. I was like, well, what even is a mortgage broker? How, what? What I mean? I was so clueless, and I was so the clueless made me motivated. You know what I mean? I hadn't felt that feeling in a long time. Right. I was getting this feeling of, this is something different. This could open some serious doors for me. Let's see what happens. Going for an interview with the CEO. He loves me. He hires me that day. Actual adult money. I signed a salary contract. I'm not going to talk numbers or anything. That's not no here nor there. But for a 19-year-old who works a salary paid job, I think that alone was mind-boggling. I mean, that was the most money I had in my bank account, I think, ever at one point. I was just mind blown. But yeah, I mean, I got hired as an assistant, an executive assistant, I guess. I was doing just a bunch of nonsense, scanning, things like that. I've now officially worked for this company for a year. I would say that I'm operations manager now. I do about like 6, 7 different things around there, but I work 5 a.m. to 1 p.m. there. That's like my day to day. That's what pays my rent and like things like that. Cause that's the big money checks, I guess, if you will. But let's see. I don't even know. I get it, man. I don't even know where you want me to start. You have any questions in between these two things?
So I want to talk. So it's like, bro, you hit on a point that I find so relatable. Like when you said you don't know what you can be until you leave. Like basically, not even just like the state, but your comfort zone. You see what I'm saying? Because most people, like you said, will just get so caught in what they know that they think that's all they can be.
That's
So
it.
what pushed you? What was the final push that made you be like, I'm gonna do it. I'm uncomfortable. I'm gonna get out.
That could happen. And what if it could turn out better than you could imagine?
Mm,
That's the thought that was running through my head that entire time. I mean, seriously, what's the worst that I could happen?
right,
I could either A, end up on my mom's couch, or B, move back to Arizona where I started.
right,
Or B, what if it turned out better than you could possibly imagine?
right.
It was option B. You don't really understand or like realize what these things can do for you until you do it. I
Until
mean,
you
you
do it.
could sit there and have these thoughts all day, every day, but if you don't act on it, it means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. I wrote that on a piece of paper every day for a week. I wrote goals. I changed my entire life. And I did it. I pulled the trigger, and I can confidently say it's the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Right. So tell me about that. Like, because I know jumping into the water, it's either a sink or swim, but you're not gonna die. Even
Right.
when you sink, you're not gonna die. But what was it like, the process of adjusting and becoming a new person and kind of like overcoming the old person that you are, your old beliefs? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I learned to love to be alone.
Mm,
I learned to do things for myself that I normally wouldn't do alone. You know
right.
what I mean? Like it sounds super weird and like corny, whatever. You can call it whatever you want. But taking those 2 p.m., 2 a.m. drives with nobody, just cruising, doing those things alone that you would want to do for yourself, but you're kind of just like afraid because you don't, want to do it alone, or what's the fun in doing something alone? But I'm telling you, it's probably more fun than doing it with somebody. That's just a fact. And you don't really understand that until you start doing these things, man. Like I mean, I'd cook for myself. Like I'd cook for one 6 nights a week. I mean, it sounds sad, but like learning to love that and learning to appreciate and reward yourself for like the little things, I think that completely changed everything for me.
Bro, that's just it. Because honestly, like, I'm gonna be transparent, bro. I had the biggest fear before, no, until this year, actually, until COVID hit, I had the biggest fear of being alone. Like, no matter freshman year of college, when I was sitting in my
Yo,
dorm room,
I still do.
no, I feel it. I still kind of do, bro. But
Yo, it doesn't just go. I wish it did just like go away like that. But man, I mean, especially when you have relationships that come into your life. I mean, I was in a committed relationship 3 months ago. I spent every day not alone. You know what I mean? So then you get to learn to love it again.
exactly, no, that's exactly it. Because like I was spending time like when I should be spending that time intentionally by myself. I was no, let me hop on FaceTime with somebody. No, look.
Right. You
And
know what I
then
mean?
I don't really know me. You see what I'm saying? You don't even know you. And so,
I mean, I should preface that when I moved here, I was probably in the worst mental state I have ever been in my life.
mm,
Okay, that was my first love. I'm moving away from the place that I know like the back of my hand. Why would anyone do that? Like I had nothing going for me. You know what I mean? Like I was in a very depleted state of mind, and that is super not healthy. And I'm a big mental health preacher. And that was one thing that like I could not I couldn't fumble that opportunity. No. Mm-mm.
that's interesting. That's interesting. Cause like I seen this quote. I seen this quote. You just made me think of it. Is like rock bottom is the perfect place to build a great foundation. And that's
Only up.
exactly
It's only up from there.
exactly.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I mean, when you're holding a brick at the bottom of the sea and you let go of the brick, you don't go further down.
Right. So do you think when you were at that rock bottom or when you were at that depleted state, did you just get to a state of like acceptance of like, all right, this is where I am. Now, how do I level up?
Yeah, I figured, I mean, I could either sit there and because of COVID, I mean, everyone was locked down. There was literally nothing to do, especially if you were in Scottsdale, Arizona during that time. There's absolutely nothing to do. There's no new movies coming out. There's no entertainment, no live sports. There's just nothing. So I was sitting there. I'm like, I could probably sit here for the next 6 months, stare at these walls and do absolutely nothing with my life and be miserable.
Mm-hmm.
And no one would know. That's okay, right? I mean, like when you're in that state of mind, to you, that sounds like the easy way out.
Exactly.
Just don't do anything. Just don't move, don't change, because change is bad to those people who are in that state of mind, because that's just how we're wired to think.
Right.
If you're able to overcome that, I think if you're able to overcome the fear of change, I think that's important.
Exactly. Because
I would have hated change, but now, I mean, I've changed more than ever. I change probably on a daily basis. I mean, I change others around me. I change literally everything. I mean, I love it.
honestly, because I don't know. To me, obviously, it's hard to take those jumps, like especially as big of a jump as you did consistently. But like I have like this personal goal where daily I have to do one thing out of my comfort zone, just because in my mind, like the point of life is because like you said earlier, like none of this stuff matters. It's just gain experience. Like just try it.
Right.
Worst comes
Seeking discomfort. I mean, there's
right.
a YouTube group called Yes Theory.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're done with this podcast, I'd like you to go to their page and look up Yes Theory. So I met these three guys.
Uh-huh.
I don't know, probably like a year ago. They were already famous, but I have never related to a group of people so much that all they do is preach yes and seeking discomfort and doing all these crazy things. So I can honestly say that a YouTube channel was a good motivation for me to move on with my life. I mean, I preach this. I tell everyone to go watch them. They're absolutely amazing. I mean, they just do some crazy things, but I love the seeking discomfort. I think that's important. I think getting out of your comfort zone and doing things like that of that level, magnitude. I mean, it could either go real bad or real good, and you really have no idea. And that's kind of the risk you got to take. And if you're willing to take it, then, you're already winning.
Exactly. And honestly, with that real bad and real good, we were talking about it off camera. Like it's all like perspective. Cause like you said, you're a firm believer in everything happens for a reason. You learn
Absolutely.
everything, like the good and the bad. There's something to learn.
Every decision I've ever made in my life has led me to this point. Everything happens for a reason.
Right.
I promise you. I mean, I'm going to be brutally honest here. 2.5 months ago, I lost my stepfather after a decade. That was my first real like close personal loss. But man, did that open my mind. That opened the whole I should have in my mind for these people in my family. Hug your loved ones. All right. To anyone watching this, all right, text your mom, text your dad, tell them you love them today for no apparent reason except for that you love them. Because I mean, I really hit hard. I mean, that left my mom alone. Shook everyone's world. So, I just thought I should bring that up for anyone that's dealing with family members that are lost right now, because it's a crazy time in the world. You're not alone. It has a crazy, crazy thing to deal with. But I promise, like, I mean, that changed my whole perspective on life.
I appreciate you for sharing that.
Man, like people can learn a lot more than suffer in these kinds of things.
Right. No, that's it right there. That's really it right there. You can learn a lot more when suffering through these things. So tell me. So boom, you start working for the mortgage brokerage.
Right, so that actually leads into my my first semester of sophomore year at WP Care at ASU. Okay, I'm doing it online, obviously, because I live in California. I said, screw it. I dropped out. All 6 of my classes, withdraw.
Did you make the decision by yourself, or were you conversating?
Solely by myself. That was another big, like, sink or swim, fight or flight moment for me. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, my whole family preaches on going to school. I mean, I have two sisters that graduated from Duke. You know, it goes a long way in my family graduating from college. And I was sitting there after a year and a half of doing brutal online school. And I said, you know what? I'm going to take a year. I'm going to see what I can learn in the year that would change my perspective on going back to college. If I mean, I'm not saying that I'm not going back. I am officially on a gap year. That hasn't ended yet, but um, dropping out of college was one of the best things ever. I mean, again, like I will never tell kids to drop out of college. If you're in the position where you feel at heart that it's a necessary thing, especially if you're paying for it, like I was, you know what I mean? I was spending a lot of money to attend an online class that, you know, was supposed to teach me about business. But in the 2 months after that, I dropped out, I started a company, LLC, trademarked company. And in those 2 months, I learned more than spending, you know, $20,000 at a business school that's ranked fourth in the nation.
Right.
So I'm sitting here like, yo, what am I doing? I'm like, this is coming out of my bank account. Like this is my time. Like this isn't like no one who can tell me not. You know what I mean? Like who can tell me I'm not allowed to drop out? And like in this generation, kind of sucks. It's become more, you know, okay to drop out, if you will. I mean, you'll meet more college dropouts this year than you ever will in your life. But I took the jump. I was like, you know, I'm gonna take a year. I my first thing was Do No Evil. That was like kind of my first like passion project outside of school, because believe it or not, I mean, that video that's on my Instagram, that took probably 3 months to film, edit, put together, all of it. Just like, I mean, it all took so long. I mean, I waited probably a month for closing itself. I waited 70 something days for a trademark. I mean, I just spent all this time working, and I was like, you know what, this benefits me. Like, you know, I made the right decision. I learned that shortly after dropping out, that I made the good decision in that time. Like, obviously it's different now. I'm in a much different place than I was a year ago. I do like the idea of going back to school and getting some sort of degree. I don't know where or when that might be, but I do like the idea of that. But at the moment, it's just not necessary.
Right. So tell me about like when you're going through the process of making that video, starting the LLC. Talk about like the mental aspect of it, because I know with me personally, with the Millionaire Mac Club, like there's all days are good. Like I never have bad days just because I'm always learning, but there's definitely the days like I'm like, bro, what the blank am I doing? Like I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing something. So tell me about those uncertain days.
You know, honestly, I thought if I was keeping myself occupied, it would benefit me in some way. Now again, it's completely different now. But in that time, I was probably spending every single day working on something for that company, whether it be designing a shirt or, you know, signing papers or telling my friends about it or creating an Instagram post. But I just want to talk about this video real quick. Probably one of the longest things that I've ever worked on in my life. I mean, we sat there for hours. I mean, I have my journal back there that has pages of what I was going to do. There's actually a second part to that video that never came out. I can't share it because it didn't turn out too well, but there's a whole interview side that never came out. I mean, that was filmed in Laguna. That's my hometown at the top of the world, where I grew up, where I had a house there, and I'd go and play basketball in Newport at the apartment complex that I lived at, and where I met these two kids that filmed this video. It all kind of came full circle. And then I went to the beach with my best friend's sister, who I've known for a while, who's now an influencer. So I got promotion, she got promotion. So it worked out for her. You know, we got to cover all the bases. And I was just kind of thinking, I was like, you know, I'm keeping myself occupied and I'm doing something cool. I don't care if I'm making $1, negative dollars. Granted, I was losing money pretty much every day that I was doing that, which was, you know, it's fine. I mean, it was, you know, it all comes at a cost and things like that. And making movie-like videos like that are not inexpensive at all. And I mean, you pay for time and editing and all that stuff. I mean, it's a lot. It really did some damage. But again, I mean, I learned more than anything. I mean, I was introduced to all these kids who make videos on the internet and make upwards of 6 figures a month. You know what I mean? To me, that sounds absolutely mind-boggling. I'm like, I'm not a content creator. I'm not a sitting here in my 300 square foot studio by myself, I'm like, yo, man, like I'm no influencer. Like what makes anyone think that I can do this? And I'm just sitting here like I'm doubting myself. I'm like, because it took so long that like there was so much time for me to like think about the
Right.
and
Think
like,
about what could go
like
wrong.
what's worst case scenario, because like some days I just wouldn't be doing anything and I'm like, okay, like this is useless. I'm like, I'm screwed.
Right.
So I mean, that was definitely tough.
So what got you through those days?
What got me through those days? I think honestly counting my blessings. I mean, because right before this happened, I mean, I just moved here. So I'm like, okay, instead of thinking about everything that's going wrong right now with me trying to start a company, I go, let's go back 6 months. I go, let's just kind of reward myself to what I've done so far. And like, dude, at this point, I'm cooking dinner for myself alone. Like I'm spending hours on end enclosed at my desk doing absolutely nothing except for working on this. You know what I mean? It's like, I've really learned to kind of reward myself for the little things. You know what I mean? I'd have a good day. I'd come home from work. I'd be like, hell yeah, I'm gonna cook a 5-star dinner for myself. I'm gonna turn on some content. I'll sit back and just kind of enjoy it. You know, I mean, take it all in. I never really was a count your blessings kind of guy. This year, it kind of hit me more than ever after having a personal loss in the family. That was a really big count your blessings moment, because if you would have told me 2 weeks prior, I would have slapped you, because I would never believe something like that could happen. He was 53 years old. That's how old my biological father is right now.
Right.
Absolutely heartbreaking. So I mean, that was a really big count your blessings moment. Even back then, I wasn't the biggest preacher of that, but I thought if I could take a little bit out of it, if I could just write these things down, if I could just look back to see what I did. I mean, I got out of the worst relationship of my life and then shifted into the best parallel of what could have been.
Exactly. Like it all happens that fast.
It all happens so fast that it doesn't even give you time to ask what's next. I mean, off camera, James had asked me, what's next for me in a couple of years, or where I might see myself. And I told him, I don't know. You tend to worry about what's going to go on next week, tomorrow, next month. But I'm going to be brutally honest, you have no idea. Y'all can take an attempt at guessing what's going to happen tomorrow or what's going to happen next week or next year, but like you have no idea. At the end of the day, you got no idea. And if you would have told me 365 days ago that this is the position that I would be in, I would be like, that's weird, because I never thought about that in my life.
Right.
So, I mean, there could be things next year that I haven't even looked at or experienced, and that could be my whole life next year.
Exactly.
I mean, being a personal chef was one of those things. I actually don't know when I started that. Me and my best friend Paris were personal chefs for this girl, Lexi Hensler, Pearson Wadzinski, and Logan. They all live in a nice house. So we go there and cook Mondays and Thursdays. That was so cool. That was another one of those things where, okay, so I had worked in a restaurant, obviously. So like I had known my way around food, and Paris also grew up in a restaurant. It's like, and we have that chemistry of being friends already. So like we thought like, this could be fun. It went from like one night a week, every other week, to 2 nights a week, every week. And we would be getting a group together. We'd be playing games. We'd be cooking for 20 people, 14 people, 3 people. You know what I mean? That was one of those things where I was like, if you would have told me 6 months ago that I'd be cooked like a personal chef, like I'm a fantastic cook. I can cook for myself all day, all night long. But like personal chef.
Right.
I'm not getting paid. Like we strictly do this for fun. They pay for the food and we just come and cook and hang out because we know how.
Exactly.
The best thing I think that's happened all year to us. I mean, it brought me so much joy. And it was, again, I mean, I told you, you don't know what's going to happen. And I never would have thought that I would be doing things like that. I mean, you have kids like Brent Rivera sitting at the dinner table and, things like that. That's just cool in and of itself. But the fact that you got them to sit down at that dinner table and play spoons or charades or cards together, no phones, no camera, no fame, no money, just living.
Just living, right.
I absolutely love it. I'll preach that to the day I die, and hopefully that I'm a chef at some point full time, because I love it.
Right. You just dropped some gems just because, like, I don't know, what you were explaining is like the count your blessings thing. Obviously, like that's a gem. I'm a firm believer in that, because like I do this thing where I say, what are your wins of the day every single day? Like give me 5 wins, at least 5 wins. I don't care if it's I woke up. I don't care if it's I brushed my teeth. Count all those. But you dropped another gem just talking about the reward, getting rewarded for in an unmonetary way, in experience points, in good vibes, in good memories. You see what I'm saying? And oftentimes we'll be like, how does that benefit me monetarily? Or how does that benefit me status wise? Like, no, can we just, like, the real point of being here is to
live,
find a good feeling and and just repeat that feeling as much as we can.
This was another cool thing. In January, or actually in December. So you follow my Instagram, you see that I'm all over the place. I travel like nobody's business. Okay. In December, I was in Chicago for a week, and then we flew to Scottsdale, and we came back. When we came back to Huntington, we all were going to go to Cabo. Okay. There's 14 of us. We're like, screw it. What could happen? All right. So I ended up actually being that whole trip coordinator. I coordinated everything from seats to buses to Escalades to dinner reservations to everything. To me, I felt so fulfilled for some reason. I'm on a different country, 900,000 miles away from home, and I'm directing these 14 kids. They're all listening to me. Like, I'm like, this is it. I'm like, I know what I'm doing right here. So I kind of chased that feeling for a while. We went to Cabo, and then in February, I was in Salt Lake. Then in March, I was home. And then April, I was in Bahamas. And then last month, I was in Cancun.
Damn, that was traveling.
Yeah, no, I absolutely love it. And when I was a kid, like when I was younger, I used to travel all the time. And so I'm all about the experiences now, bro. Like, I mean, the shiny things, that all is fun and stuff, but like there is absolutely nothing beats going and exploring this world. I mean, there's so much to see. There's so much to see, bro. I mean, after graduating senior year, I spent 36 days or 32 days in France. I stayed with the host family for a majority of the time. I stayed in Paris. I went to like 16 different cities. And it just, I don't know if you've ever been to Europe or to anywhere outside the country, but I mean, it really puts it all in perspective for you. Like, what are you doing kind of thing? It's so different. So after that, I kind of chased the feeling of, I want to go somewhere. Like I do. I have friends, influencers that text me. It's so funny because this just happened, but I have friends that text me yesterday at 3:30. Jett, let's go somewhere soon. I want to go somewhere with you because let alone like I know where I'm going, I know what I'm doing. It's just like everyone loves my energy, and I haven't felt that like worthy in a while. You know what I mean? Like that was such a cool feeling, and so I'm sitting here kind of just like blushing a little bit. Like, what is life, man?
That's dope. See, like, bro, for everybody that's listening, first off, if you can't travel to Europe or wherever, you'll get there. But start.
You don't even need to.
Huh?
You don't even need to go to Europe, bro. Go to Utah, go to Yosemite, go to Washington, go drive the coast to Oregon, bro. Go. I'm telling you right now, I couldn't have preached this more. Go outside and go explore. Go look at this beautiful world and what it's got to offer, man.
Find where you can go. It doesn't matter if instead of going to McDonald's, you go to Burger King one day and you normally go to, just change it up. Go try something new.
Of course.
Try something new. So it's actually so interesting. It's so cool hearing everything you're saying, just because I'm a firm believer in like manifestation. I don't know if you are, but I had a guest on, my mentor on last week, and he said something. He was like, you don't manifest what you want, you manifest what you are. And it's just so cool to hear your story and catch up, just because I'm hearing all of this growth and internal time, that like intentional internal time that you're taking. And it's no coincidence you're being rewarded with a lifestyle. You see what I'm saying? Like, if you're taking the internal mindset of like, life, what do you have to offer? And now all of a sudden you're traveling all these places and you're getting offered all these opportunities. It's not coincidence. It's not a coincidence, even though it may feel like it, but like that's a reward for your work. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I think hard work pays off. I mean, I kind of really experienced that in January when I started to travel, because I had some money saved up, you know what I mean? Like I could go do these things. I mean, I love it. I seriously love it, man. I will preach to everyone, go out and see something, go out and do something. Take
Yeah.
a weekend, do a little staycation, drive an hour away from home. I don't care what you got to do, but it's so worth it. It's so worth the experience. And you learn something. Man, we talk about learning something, I think every sentence now, but
Right.
going out, looking at the different cultures and like the different things that you can see and experience. And like, I mean, if you ever go to Mexico, you're treated like royalty, wherever you go, because that's just the community that's over there. I mean, they want to welcome you in open arms. I mean, if you go to Texas, Dallas, that's probably not the case. You know what I mean? They're probably going to say, screw you. I don't really care what you have to say. So it's kind of cool to experience those different things. And, it puts it all in perspective. And then you come home to Huntington Beach and you're like, all right, everyone's just kind of giving you the middle finger when you're walking down the street. It's just like, it's different. And I mean, it really, again, it puts it all in perspective for you.
Right. So I want to take a quick shift. So you're working at a mortgage brokerage at the age of 19 in a very solid position. No degree, no traditional, none of that. So what is it like? What is it like being, are you the youngest guy in the office?
Absolutely.
What is that like?
By at least probably 20 years.
See, what is that like? Like, because
okay. So I worked, I don't know if I mentioned it on camera, off camera, but I worked at Cold Beers and Cheeseburgers for a while, and I was their corporate trainee. So I would go and I would train staff members and pretty much tell adults what to do. You know what I mean? Like I was kind of in the position where they would have to listen to me. I'm not in a cocky, narcissistic way, but that was my job position.
Right.
Going from that to now being the person that gets told by people who are older than you, dude, that took some getting used to. I mean, yeah, it's cool because you have these people who have an insane amount of knowledge and who have been doing this for longer than I've been alive, longer than the hospital that it's been up for that I've been alive. You know what I mean? Like there's people that have been doing this for 50 years, 40 years. I mean, they walk in for 5 minutes, make 50K and walk out.
Damn.
They when you're at that level, when you do something for that for so long, it's wild. I mean, I at first I really didn't like it. I mean, I have my own little cubicle like by myself. I don't really sit next to anyone. If I didn't have my mom there, my answer would be completely different. I honestly don't think I'd continue to work there because it kind of gives me that like medium. I'm not alone. You know what I mean? Like I can look over and be like, yo, mom, like, what's up? Like what it do? You know what I mean, like what up? It's kind of nice. And like, we go take walks and like we go take breaks and stuff. And like I'm absolutely blessed that I'm able to spend this time with my mom like that right now. I mean, I see my mom every day, 8 hours a day, no matter what.
Right. That's dope.
Yeah. And I mean, it's great. I mean, I really like working with parents sounds icky, but I don't work for her. So it's not, I mean, we work together. I mean, work hand in hand. So
that's dope. So all right, you say you wake up or you have to be at work 5 to 1, then you go cook. So it sounds like you have systems, habits set up. Have you always been strong in habits or what?
No. Okay. This is wild, man. So during high school, I used to be up probably 2, 3 a.m., wake up at noon, like that. You know what I mean? I moved here. I started this job. At this point in time, like right now, I wake up at probably 4:30 a.m. with no alarm, no hesitation. I'm out of bed, showered, and ready by probably 5-ish. I feel great every morning. I work for about 7-8 hours ish, 1:30, 12:30 sometimes. Come home, go to the gym. That's another big thing that I've incorporated the past like 6 months. I've gained 15 pounds since I moved here. And I guarantee 90% of it is muscle. I go to the gym six days a week. I mean, I'm in the best shape of my entire life. I'm completely shredded right now, which is great. Which is another huge confidence booster that I needed because that was something I struggled with, man. I'd go to family events and they'd be like, did you eat today? Did you eat today? And I'd be like, oh, that's cool. Like, screw you. But like, yeah, I did. Like, I have that motivation now where like I'm sitting there like, nah, they ain't gonna ask me that anymore because like now I actually look good. I don't look just like a malnourished. I'm 6 feet tall now. So like I had to put on some weight. Yeah, last time you saw me, I was like 5'1". I am 6 feet tall. I'm 135 pounds. And it's the most I've ever weighed in my life. And it's not even a lot. So I should put it alone in perspective, the amount of confidence that I've gained mentally, physically. I mean, I attest the gym, and quick shout out to my boys at Kingdom Nutrition, my family. They have motivated me and my guys to get in the gym and do some work. So I'm really thankful. I also got friends like that. I mean, that's one of my best friends right there. Started his own nutrition company, and now it's all over the U.S.
Right.
Another one of those things, man. This kid's 23 years old. I mean, another one of those things. If you have no idea what's going to happen, start that company, go pressure wash that driveway. Like, you know what I mean? I was a car detailer before I actually moved to California. That was like my side hustle, but I knew connection. It's about who you know, not what you know too. I knew people that would pay me serious money because they knew who I was and they knew my work ethic. So they pay me serious money because they know I'd work my ass off. So there's this one guy, he's my godfather actually, has 6 cars, multi-million-dollar cars. I mean, yeah, crazy collection. I mean, I would go to his house three days a week and clean all 6 of them. I was making great money. And I'm thinking to myself, like, dude, what have I been doing my whole life? And I'm thinking, I see all these kids on TikTok now that are starting like these pressure washing companies. I preach for it, man. Do it. You learn more starting that than you will in your whole life. And especially at a young age, man, it thrills me to see kids at like 14 having their dad driving to Walmart and getting them a pressure washer and shit like that, bro. I love that.
Bro, I'm an advocate for that too, bro. Cause I don't regret like my middle school times or like my high school times. Cause like I had great times, but I definitely could have used it better to my advantage. Cause like, even though now we're both still young, I'm only 20, starting the company, like the amount that I've learned and the amount of fun that I've had, like, cause
it also makes you started earlier.
Exactly.
And that's what I wish I could tell my past self is, you can do this at 15, you can do this at 16, you can do this at 14. Like how, like, you need no one.
The age doesn't matter. It's just go gain experiences, go mess up.
100%.
Just try to learn.
I really I was a big advocate. I mean, I see these kids on TikTok doing it, and I'm like, I was one of those kids.
Right.
I was doing that. And so like, I'd love to see that that's now like catching on as a trend, if you will. But start the business that you want to start, write in that journal that you've got, write down those insane goals that you'd never think that you'd be able to do it. I'm going to tell you something really crazy. May 7th, 2013. Okay. That's 8 years ago. I had sent an email, to my dad, an email. I'm like 12 years old, of my list of things that I wanted to accomplish in the next decade. The last one on that list, was live in California. So if you go to my Instagram, I actually posted it because I was just looking through my phone one day and I saw, because I was just like looking up California, just like looking up things. And I saw that, I broke down. I mean, that shifted everything for me. Bro, 8 years ago, as a 12-year-old, I was writing down my goals.
That's powerful.
At 12, I didn't even know how to spell goal. Bro, it blows my mind because I would have never, ever thought that I would be in May 19th of 2013. That bottom one says live in California.
That's powerful.
Powerful, isn't it? It blows my freaking mind. I was a kid then. Like I didn't even, the thought of moving sounded ridiculous to me. So like, and even then I was thinking in my head that was one of those insane goals. You know what I mean? Like, well, I'm telling you to write down those insane goals you have right now. That was one of them.
Exactly.
Because I didn't make that goal come true until 7 years later.
Exactly. And you weren't even thinking, like, you declared it and then you weren't even thinking about it. You just made it happen.
Bro, I forgot about that email 6 months after I sent it. You know what I mean? I was not planning for that. But if you have it written down and you've seen it before, it's there. You just may not notice it, but it's there. And I promise you, I mean, that was probably one of the coolest things that's ever happened in my life, was being able to look back at that email and be like, wow, I did that.
Bro, that's so.
And if I can do that, who's to tell me I can't do whatever I want?
Right. No, bro. Like literally, this is something I'm learning right now just because like you know how it is with the company. Sometimes once you get one success, like you're like, all right, I want to get more fast. But like what I'm really learning is like, all right, if I write it down and I put my grind to it, it may not happen in my time, but it's gonna happen. And if it doesn't happen exactly how I thought it was gonna happen, it's gonna happen in some way, shape, or form.
You're putting it out there. I mean, I'm not a big religious person, but there is something up there that is watching you, that is hearing the things that you're writing down. I promise you. Like, I have never been a super religious person, and I probably never will be, because that's just not who I am. But I will tell you dang straight that there is no exceptional answer to how I got that checked off my list, except for something of a higher power.
Exactly, bro. Exactly. Like,
I don't go to church. Like, I don't sit here and pray on my hands and knees. Like, I'm not committed to a religion like that. But I truly think that if you're willing to put something out in the universe, that you'll be rewarded for it.
Exactly, bro. Everything in life is imagination. Like an apartment complex. If you think about it, like we think that's something normal. Like, oh, that's just where I live. No, somebody had the idea. All right, I'm gonna stack some rooms on top of each other. Like the iPhone. Oh, I have an idea that we can communicate with each other in a matter of seconds. Like, just because it isn't reality doesn't mean you can't make it reality. Like,
absolutely. I mean, seriously. I mean, you just said it best yourself. There's really nothing else I can say to that besides you're damn right. Exactly. I love that. I love that you're preaching that to everyone too. I mean, I think my biggest takeaway from this past year was count your blessings and write in that journal of yours, because I promise that's probably one of the biggest things that has ever happened to me. I have 1 second.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell them about the journal, man. That's what I was about to touch on. Tell them about the journal.
See this right here? This black one has every single day of 2020. Every single day. I did not miss a single day. I go back on this journal. I mean, I don't know if you can tell, but some of the pages are messed up. It's warped because it's emotion. Bro, I didn't try and mess this book up. But like, if you go back and look, you can see, this is crazy. I just flipped to a page where this is a whole chapter I didn't even miss. I was a drop shipper at one point. I tried branded drop shipping. I just saw that in my book. It's wild. But like, sometimes you forget about the things. When you diversify so much, you start to forget about some of the things that you do. I experienced for about 2 months what it was like to be a drop shipper. Mm-hmm. I learned that whole realm. Wild. For no reason.
For no reason.
James, for no reason. Except for the fact that I wanted to learn.
Right.
And now I can confidently say that I could run your Shopify website. I mean, that's another reason why I just pulled these out. I didn't know I was going to flip to that page. That was a total accident, but like, that just brought me a smile. Good. You know, if I was having a bad day and I did that, that probably would have changed my day.
Changed the day.
I mean, bro, it's absolutely wild. I mean, you could see me literally scribble on this, like anger scribbles.
Yeah.
I think that's amazing. And I started this one. This is 2021, but.
So tell
if you're listening to this right now, go out there, go to your normal Walgreens, your Target, your grocery store. I don't care. Buy a journal.
Tell them why.
Don't let anyone see it. Don't let anyone read it, because it's not for anyone but yourself. But go out there, spend the $3.99 it costs for a moleskin journal at Walgreens and buy it. Bro, it's the corner of Scottsdale and Shea. I walked my ass into that Walgreens on a random ass day and bought this book, and it's the best thing that has ever happened to me, period.
Get your journals. Go get your journal, man.
Every single person that comes into my life knows that I have a journal, and that I will preach to them that they should also have a journal.
Exactly. And for those of y'all that are listening, it can be like, there's no rules to journaling. It doesn't have to be a dear journal. Is she thinking about me? But it can be. It can be that. It can be. You can write jokes in the journal. Just express yourself.
Dude, I have passwords. I have the VIN number to my cars. I have to-do lists. I have half my lease of my old apartment. I have signatures from people that I've met. Like, I mean, I have everything. Look, original Do No Evil pages.
Right.
That's so cool. I have tabs from when we went to Cabo. I mean, it's super cool to be able to go back and look at some things like that. I mean, take it how you leave it, do it, don't do it. I don't care. But if you do something, you're gonna buy a journal today.
Buy a journal. Just it's $2. If you don't have the $2, I'll send you the $2.
I'll send you the $2, bro.
Hey,
I'm game, bro. You need a journal? Hit me up.
No, so the next thing I want to talk about, because with the whole personal chef thing and who you're hanging around, being around Paris, compared to being around the people you were with in high school. Talk about how big of an effect your circle has on you.
There's a reason why a Lamborghini has 2 seats and a bus has 50. Your circle gets smaller no matter what life you live, no matter what position you're in. It comes with the game of life. All right. I said it off camera, but anyone that comes into your life is a lesson or a blessing. I promise you, write that down. Remember that until you die. But when I was in high school, because I transferred to Chaparral sophomore year, that's where a majority of my friends. He's up it, you know the vibes. Come on. All my friends that were there at Chaparral though were a year older.
Right.
Okay, so come my senior year of Chap, I got nobody. You know what I mean? I have a couple people, obviously, because of my class, but like all my good friends are not at that school anymore. I was like, whatever. Kind of learned that was kind of like another like friendship test of like the fake people in my life. I mean, there's a couple names that like I will forever, love, and like those kinds of people hold a special place. But I find that no matter how hard you try to keep your friends, sometimes it's just not going to work. I'm going to give you a perfect example. I had my brother, Cole Kurtz. Okay. You can bleep his name. You can keep it in there. I don't care. But a really amazing friend of mine for a long time. I mean, he lived with me at one point. I mean, my family financially supported him at one point. A really, really close friend of mine. In December of 2018, when I started a committed relationship, no more friends, no more friendship. Gone. We didn't talk another word. Kind of makes you rethink. I mean, yeah, coming with a girlfriend, your friends are gonna, you're gonna lose some friends, whether you like it or not, because that's just how it goes. But I kind of realized, I mean, if he really cared about how I was feeling, yeah, he'd probably still be around. Right. Because if anyone cares about who I am, they'd want me to be happy. And at that moment, I was probably the happiest I've ever been. So I'm like, why would he take himself out of that equation? Is it just because he sees me happy, or he sees me filling a position that he was once in? You know what I mean? So that kind of put it in perspective for me when you have friends, and, whether they're lifelong or not. I can confidently say that Paris Rosenbaum will be a lifelong friend of mine till the absolute day that I pass away. Those people, I mean, they come and go. I mean, I was in the most healthy relationship in March of this year. The best committed, healthy relationship of my life. 2 months later, she broke up with me. Okay. Walked her ass into my room, broke up with me, left 5 minutes later. You know what that does to a man in a healthy relationship? It ruins your perception of love. So if you don't really keep an eye on your circle and keep an eye on the people who are coming into your life, it can be a little dangerous. But since being out here and since having the success, if you will, that I've had, the amount of people that have hit me up, and James, I'm going to be brutally honest with you, I have probably 15 to 20 of my ex-high school friends in my DMs right now. I don't respond to a single one. I have 3 out of my 4 ex-girlfriends in my DMs. Okay. I do not care to entertain the people who only see what's going on right now. You know what I mean? Like, they see what's going on. They're like, okay, I need to hit him up. With you, it's different because I've seen what you're doing. You hit me up. I saw it like a week later. I'm sorry, I have 90 plus DM requests, so it's kind of crazy. But I'm scrolling through and I see James Hodggreen. I'm like, you're not one of those kids who you're not really like one of those fake kids, if you will, because bro, I mean, come on, I've had ex-girlfriends in my DMs telling me to come back to Arizona. Like, that's fate. Okay, that's fake as hell. I mean, and it doesn't get worse than that, and it couldn't be more obvious than that. Okay, like, I have kids from high school that I haven't talked to in 5 years that have texted me who didn't give a shit about me when I was going to school with them, but now they want to talk to me. Now they want to come out and visit me in LA. Like, now they want to come do these things and party with celebrities and things like that. I will never entertain that in my life. If you did me wrong, I won't hold the grudge against you. I hope you're winning, just not at my table. You just don't sit with me anymore. I mean, I really learned to not hold the grudge on the people that come and go out of your life, because again, everything happens for a reason. And some of those people are really just meant for a lesson. I can confidently say that my ex-girlfriend of this year was a lesson, not a blessing, a complete and total lesson. It showed me how to love again in a healthy way, and it's gone. Right. And now here I am, happy as hell, still living, still, nothing changed, you know what I mean? As if it was right before we started dating. So, I just keep your circle small. Some of these people will turn out and hurt you in the end. And I think if you don't keep a good eye on the people who really care about you and want the best for you, and also a friend isn't the person who's going to tell you what you want to hear 24/7. Okay. If Parrish was here right now, he would tell you, I give him crap all the time, because sometimes he looks for an answer that he's not going to get. Right. If you don't have those people in your life, you're going to go absolutely nowhere, because if you don't have a support team that's willing to say, nah, that's wrong, or you should do it this way, those people are helpful. Those people are the ones you want. You don't want the people to say, dude, you're doing great. You're doing just fine. Keep it up. Do you. You don't really want those people, because they don't motivate you. They don't push you out of that zone that make you think about other things that are going on. Right. So I kind of learned more about that. And, a lot of the people out in Los Angeles in this area are pretty fake. I mean, what you see on social media is pretty fake. A good majority of it is, faux and, made up, and all that stuff is just for clicks and views. And I won't entertain that. You know what I mean? I'll see these kids who, we'll start a conversation with them and they have an IQ of that water bottle I was just sipping. You know what I mean? Like, there's levels to this. And if you're not willing to, incorporate it and take it all in and kind of realize who these people are and like what their motive is, then you might be bumming a little bit, because a lot of these people motives out here are not to help you. Right. They're to help themselves just by using you, or benefiting myself by, putting you in a position that I should be in. You know what I mean? It's kind of weird. And I was never dealt the cards with how to deal with kids like that or hang out with kids like that. But yeah, I mean, I really learned. I have a pretty small circle at the moment. I talked to about 2 people from Arizona, like full time. And Sarah Glass. Sarah Glass, yeah. One of my favorite humans on earth. We talk probably every day. But again, she was one of those people that in my life was super supportive and just like never like went away. So it's people like that like, she will be a lifelong friend. Like, she'll be at my wedding if I'm not getting married to her. But like, you know what I mean? Sarah, if you're hearing this. Sarah Glass, if you're hearing this, you know the vibes. I'm about to fly you out here.
No, bro, that's exactly it. Because honestly, if you have so many people, it's not that you need to micromanage people, but you need that energy. Energy is past. That toxic energy. If there's one person over here chirping, not on the same path, then it's gonna get passed along, and it's in the end gonna bite you back. So I'm a firm believer in be cool with everybody, be personable with everybody.
Yourself, man.
Don't let everybody at the table. Yeah. Not everybody can eat at the table.
Also, don't lose yourself trying to figure out somebody else. Mm-hmm. I mean, that was a huge thing that I had to learn this past year. Actually, in the relationship that I broke up with before moving to California, I completely lost myself. Right. You know what I mean? I was not me. I was solely there to please somebody else and be somebody's codependent partner. The most unhealthy possible thing. yeah, changing that was huge. Be yourself. Don't let someone, take you for granted, because that leads you to a dark place. I became super codependent, and that's dangerous, man. That's dangerous. I wasn't myself at all. Every day I hate life. I had no reason to hate life, but that was all that I knew at the moment. So that was tough. And I thank God, whoever's up there, but I thank God for that relationship every day. I learned so much. She knows who she is, but if you're listening to this, I hope she's doing well. I will always mean well for her. I don't regret anything, but sometimes you just have to realize that it's a little bit toxic and a little bit, you're losing yourself. I never thought that was possible. I had, my dad and my mom telling me, Jett, like, you haven't been at home in 2 weeks. Like, what are you doing? That kind of things. Like, in the moment, you don't think that you're doing anything wrong. I mean, you think that you're just living and, I'm in a relationship, blah, 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 blah. Like, bro, I'm 18, I'm 17. Like, I'm no adult. Like, I live with my dad still. Like, you know what I mean? So, like, I don't know. That kind of, again, put it in perspective when I was hearing it from my dad saying, codependency is, dangerous and tough. I was like, all right, screw you. Two years later, here I am.
You think,
worst possible state of mind I could possibly be in. I learned. I live and learn every single day, and that was a huge learning curve for me, my man.
That's interesting. That's interesting. So this is gonna be my last question for you.
Yeah, man. By the way, this is still super surreal.
No, me too, bro. I'm really like sitting here.
Pretty crazy. But yeah, continue.
No, I've been thinking this whole time. Like, I'm like sitting here, I'm like, I remember this guy from math class, like 7:45 a.m. Him and Jay Hunt goofing off. Me, Nick Sanrovin goofing off right next to each other. I remember, bro. I remember when y'all would be goofing off, bro. You always played it so smooth, because like Mr. Foster, that was our math teacher.
Penguin looking ass.
Yeah, he'll be like,
I remember that class like it was yesterday.
Me too, bro. Me too. He'd be like, Jett, like try to get you in trouble. And you always played it so smooth, so personable. Oh, Mr. Foster, this, that, and always finessed out of it. I don't know how.
Too nice with it. I'm too nice with it. I had kids like John Palladino sitting next to me too. So it's easy to point fingers and be like, yo, Foster. That kid, right? You know what I mean? screw that kid. Bro, I remember dapping you up after watching a basketball game of yours. I remember walking onto the court and dapping up a bunch of the players. I don't know why I was there, but I just really remember attending basketball games and dapping you guys up. Like, I swear I was at like half those games too. For no reason, I was just there. I think I came with like Jay Hunt. I'd come with like John.
Oh, no. Oh my God. That just
made you forget the question at this point. But yeah, that's wild, man.
Oh my God. But that just gave me such good nostalgia, bro. So much growth. Hey, if you're listening to this, just keep growing, man. Just keep growing. But my last question for you, because you've given a lot of lessons, a lot of gems, but what is the biggest lesson that you've learned?
I think I said it off camera, but what if it can turn out better than you can imagine? A lot of people don't have what it takes to have that mindset. And I mean that, and like, they're not used to having that mindset. But a lot of people resort to worst case scenario. And that's how things go wrong. So instead of sitting here thinking about like, okay, I failed at this a couple months ago, but like, nah, just smile at it, learn something, and move on. You know what I mean? I really think that if you keep that mindset, don't expect anything. Okay. Everything happens for a reason, but seriously, I mean, what if it can turn out better than you can imagine?
Right.
That's probably the biggest thing that I've taken away from this year. I besides count your blessings, because I've had some pretty vile moments this year, but really, I mean, I was a big worst case scenario thinker about everything. I had no reason to believe not to. Now I do.
Little follow-up. So when you do catch yourself in the mindset or like a scarcity mindset or thinking worst case scenario, what helps you get out of it?
Realizing how far I've come, not only like in a place setting, but like a mental setting, because no one else can appreciate how far you've come mentally except for you. And if you're willing to appreciate yourself and reward yourself for that, I mean, I think that's enough to flip the switch and kind of push you the opposite direction. I mean, dang, man. I mean, those mindsets are killer. But if you're willing to, that extra, just like that extra oomph, and that, what if it could turn out better than you can imagine? It worked out for me, man. I mean, I really have no reason to believe that I did anything for this besides hard work, dedication. That's it.
Right.
I moved out here on a whim, bro. Like, and now I'm living. Mm-hmm. I'm living the life, 19-year-old and 20-year-olds would wish for. Right. I thank God, I count my blessings for it. But seriously, it's good to reward yourself like that. I'm at an exceptional level for being 19 years old at the moment. Exactly. And I think if I'm willing to accept that and reward myself for that, I'm winning.
Love it. I love it, man. I appreciate you for coming on. This was awesome. This was awesome. As simple as I can put it. This really was. I mean,
we could probably talk for all night, but seriously, thank you again for having this. Is my first official podcast appearance, James. So
it's not about to be
one day, if I'm famous and signing autographs and whatnot, I can confidently say James Hodggreen hosted on my first podcast.
Yes, sir.
Millionaire Mac Club. You know the vibes. Come on now.
Millionaire Mac, man. You know the vibes. But let the people know how they can connect with you. If they need that notebook, if they just they need some support, how can they reach out?
Absolutely. My company is at We Do No Evil on Instagram. My personal is at JETTBERK Jett Berk on absolutely everything. Instagram, TikTok. I'm not gonna give out my Snapchat, but follow those things. Keep up with me if you need me. If you want a question, hit my DMs. I go through my DM requests. That's how I'm here right now. They slid into my DMs, and I said, okay. So I promise, hit me up at Jett Berk on everything. I appreciate it, James, for real, man.
I greatly appreciate it. Everybody that's watching, I appreciate you. I love you. I support you. If you want to reach out to me, text me 480-571-7347. Text me podcast to that number. It'll be in the description. His info will be in the description. Man, hey, like he said, just keep experiencing, keep learning, keep that great mindset.
Keep living, not existing.
Exactly. Like my grandma always says, man, keep going, keep growing. Love y'all.
Peace.